Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Our today's topic of discussion is vaginal prolapse or vaginal hyperplasia. So in this video lecture, you will be learning that what are the causes of the vaginal prolapse or vaginal hyperplasia in small animals, particularly in dogs, and how this condition can be clinically presented, and what are the medical aspects that we can treat this condition, how we can treat this condition medically as well as by using the surgical intervention. So vaginal prolapse, it is again a very important condition of the dogs, and this condition is associated with the pro-estrus and estrus phase of the estrus cycle, and this condition is also associated with the increased level of the estrogen. And you know that estrogen hormone, whenever it is its level is increased in the body, it causes certain changes on the vaginal mucosa, resulting into edematous swelling of the vagina and the hyperemia or hyperemic nature of the vagina, and as well as the keratinization or hyperkeratinization of the vagina. So, as you know that the cases of anal prolapse, the vaginal prolapse is the protrusion of the vagina or vaginal mucosa from their position to the outside through the vulva. And this condition, it is uh, because of the edematous swelling of the vaginal mucosa, and because of the increased level of the edema in the vagina, it causes the propulsion of the vaginal mucosa so that it can propel out and it get prolapse through the vulva. So sometime the vagina, the cells of the vaginal mucosa, they get hyperplastic, but this condition is very much rare. There is an increase in the number of the cells of the mucosa, and ultimately this condition is also associated with the vaginal prolapse. So, vaginal prolapse or vaginal hyperplasia, this condition is common in dogs, and mostly it is because of the level of the estrogen or estrogenic response in the body during the pro-estrus and the estrus time. So, you can make a difference between the vaginal prolapse and the vaginal hyperplasia in the sense, in case of vaginal prolapse, the eversion of the mucosa, that is 360. So if taking the vagina as a tubular structure, so mucosa all around the tube of the vagina that get detached, that get propelled, and it comes out through the vulva. But in case of vaginal hyperplasia, only the stalk of the mucosa, which is lying on the floor of the vagina, usually cranial to the point of the urethral papilla, that is propelled out, and that is propelled out through the. So, in case of vaginal prolapse, the mucosa that is involved, that is containing almost all the directional structure of the vaginal tubule. But in case of vaginal hyperplasia, only the stalk of the mucosa that is involved, that is usually lying cranial to the urethral papilla. So from these pictures you can see uh, the clinical signs. The patient that is presented, that is having the vaginal prolapse, you will see the glistening edematous mass that will be protruded out from the vulva. And in the initial fresh cases of the vaginal prolapse, the mass that will be clean, that would be glistening, that would be strongly edematous and thin. But when the case it get progressed and become delayed and delayed, or because of the persistent licking of that mass of by the animals, so the area get more thicker and it become less glistening, and sometimes it takes the shape of the donut. So donut shape is, that is the also the representative picture that's showing the delayed cases of the vaginal prolapse or vaginal hyperplasia. So here in this picture you can see there is a glistening of the structures that is protruded out, but in the second structures you can see the the mass, the mucosa that is folded, that is shriveled, and it is more thicker and it is keratinized. So it is the delayed effect of the persistent licking of the animal to the with the protruded mass. So vaginal hyperplasia or hypertrophy, it is uncommon, but usually it is also associated with the proestrus and the estrus period, and the estrogen response or stimulation, it causes the vaginal mucosa to get hyperemic, become edematous, and become more keratinized. So these are the effect of the estrogen on the vaginal mucosa that may result into changing the nature of the mucosa, and ultimately these mucosal folds, when they are very much fragile and they are neighboring structures, supporting structures, they are weaker, so ultimately they will be propelled out from their original position through the through the vulva, and will be represented as a case of the vaginal prolapse and vaginal hyperplasia. So the size of the mass, the prolapse mass, it depends upon the level of the edema. In case of severe edematous swelling, the size of the mass that will be more bigger. But in case of when the level of the edema that is shorter, smaller, similarly the mass protruded out, that is also reduced in their size. So the width of the mass, that also varies. Like in the case of hyperplasia, vaginal hyperplasia, there will only the stalk-like mass that will be protruded out. But in case of vaginal prolapse, there will be 360 version of the mass that whole around the tube of the vagina, that there will be protrusion of the mass. So the causes, the number one cause of the vaginal prolapse is the estrogen stimulation, particularly during the proestrus and the estrus period, the level increases. Similarly, the vaginal hyperplasia, when there is an increase in the number of the mucosal cells, and ultimately they get more hyperplastic. Similarly, this condition is also associated with the genetic predisposition, and this condition can be transmitted from parents to the offspring. And similarly, this condition, vaginal prolapse, can has also been reported in association with the difficult labors and delivery during the time of the dystocia in animals. And similarly, anorectal obstruction, that is also another associated factor. So because of the internal straining in response to obstruction or any abdominal pain, that can also cause the propulsion of the vaginal mass or vaginal mucosa to propel out through the vulva. So clinically, the patient that is presented with this condition, usually they are more younger, uh, usually having the age of less than 2 years, and they are usually in proestrus and the estrus phase of their estrus cycle. Similarly, on history, you will also get the information from the owner of the patient, that the patient is during is in its estrus period, particularly in the proestrus or the estrus phase, and the patient that is presented with the mass that has been protruded out from the vulva, and the color of the mass that can be identified, and similarly the patient that will be having difficulty in urination because the urethral orifice that get the temporary obstruction because of the overlapping or because of the gathering of the mucosa over the urethral orifice. Similarly, the patient that will be having frequent in the urination, difficulty in the urination, and you will also see there will be enlargement and swelling in the perineal region. So these are the symptoms like the painful urinations. There will be excessive licking of the vaginal area in response to irritation and pain, and the patient that will not be allowing its counterpart for breathing, and similarly you can also see the mass that is protruded out from the vulva. So we have the medical management of this condition by making use of certain hormones, like we can make use of GnRH, GnRH at the dose rate of 50 microgram per 40 pounds, and these hormones they are used for shortening of the estrus. Similarly, you can also make use of HCG at the dose rate of 500 to 1000 international units intramuscular. So these hormones they are used to induce the ovulation and just to make the estrus period more shorter. Similarly, those animals which are suffering from these conditions uh, because of the painful response, that patient that will not be allowing their counterpart for breeding. So artificial insemination that will be the possible tool for the breeding of these animals. Similarly, if the patient that is suffering from transvenereal tumors, so for these patients we can recommend vincristine sulfate. This is the antimitotic medicine as a chemotherapeutic agent at the dose rate of 0.25 milligram per kg body weight. So maximum a dose of 1 milligram that can be used intravenously uh, weekly for 3 to 6 doses. Similarly, these transvenereal tumors they can be identified grossly as a very fragile tissues, and similarly they can be confirmed by using the uh, technique like histopathology. So for treatment of the vaginal prolapse, the protocol that is used, that first we have to pass the urinary catheter for facilitating the passage of the urination. The anti-hemorrhoidal creams that could be used just to make the area desensitized or just to reduce the painful response, and similarly the hormonal therapies they can be used just to shorten the estrus time or just to induce the ovulation. So surgical treatment that is a very good choice for those patients in which there is a continuous recurrence of this problem, and similarly it is a very good choice just to stop the further transmission of the disease into the next generation. So OHE or ovariohysterectomy that is preferred for in these cases when there is a recurrence of this problem. Similarly, the another surgical technique that is used that is called episiotomy, in which the size of um, the size of the vulva that is enhanced by giving the incision in the upper dorsal commissure of the dorsal commissure of the vulva, just to further expose the vagina, and similarly this increase or expansion of the uh, vulva will facilitate for repushing back of the prolapsed material into the vagina. So both the technique can be used as a surgical tool just to reduce the transmission of the disease and just to facilitate for repushing of the content back into the vagina. So thank you very much for your patient. Allah Hafiz.